Welcome to the lecture series of Industrial Engineering with subject code KME 503. I am Dr. Suman Gothwal, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering at AKGEC Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So today we are going to discuss about the various depreciation method and the break-even analysis. So these will be the outline of today's lecture. First we are going to discuss about the depreciation, means what is the meaning of depreciation, and then we will discuss about the different methods that we can use for calculating the depreciation value of different assets. So under this topic we are going to discuss the four methods in detail, which are straight line method, unit of production method, double declining balance method, and the sum of digit years. So these will be discussed in details, and we will discuss it or we will understand it with the help of the example for better understanding. And after that we are going to discuss about the break-even analysis and the advantages and disadvantages of this particular analysis. So first is the concept of depreciation, means what is the meaning of depreciation. So we can define the depreciation as the reduction of recorded cost of a fixed asset in a systematic manner until the value of the asset becomes zero or negligible. So as we all know, with the time the value of asset decreases. So this is basically what is the depreciation. Depreciation is the same thing, means how the value of a particular asset is decreasing with the time, okay, and this should be in a systematic manner. It is used in accounting the cost of a tangible asset over its useful life. So what is the useful life of a particular asset? Means until the particular asset is productive in nature, that will be its useful life. So we can find out the cost of that assets in over their useful life with the help of depreciation. So this is mandatory that revenues are recorded with their associated expenses in accounting period when the asset is in use, okay. And the depreciation will also help in getting a complete picture of the revenue generation transactions, okay. So we can take the example of the fixed assets are like the building, furniture, office equipment, and the machinery. So all these are the example of fixed assets, and in these value of these fixed asset will decrease over the time, okay. But we can say the land is the exceptional case, because the value of land will appreciate with the time. The value of land will increase with time, okay. Now we come to the input for depreciation. So there are some inputs for the depreciation. So we will use the term this useful life, means what is the meaning of useful life of a particular product. So this is the time period over which the organization consider a particular asset or fixed asset to be productive in nature, okay. That will be the useful life of that particular asset. Then we have the salvage value. So salvage value is basically post the useful life, mean after its useful life, the fixed the company may consider the selling it at a reduced amount. So that particular reduced amount is the salvage value of that particular asset. Now we come to the cost of the asset. So what will be the cost of the asset? This will include the taxes, shipping, and preparation setup expenses. So this will also will be included in the cost of asset. So these are the input for the depreciation. Now we come to the depreciation methods. So there are different methods with the help of which we can calculate the depreciation value of the equipment or the fixed asset. So we will discuss these four methods in detail in today's lecture. First method is the straight line method. The second one is the unit of production method. Third is the double declining balance method, and the last one is the sum of digits years. So, we can see here these are the 4 type of depreciation methods. Now, first method is the straight line depreciation method. So, in this method, basically it will involve the simple allocation of an even rate of depreciation every year over the useful life of the asset. Okay. So, here the depreciation will be equally distributed over the every year. Okay. So, it will have the even rate of depreciation every year over the useful life. Okay. So, we can say it is one of the simplest method. Okay. So, what will be the formula to calculate the depreciation as per this method? This will be asset cost, okay, minus residual value, or we can say the salvage value. On what is salvage value? Salvage value is basically the reduced value after the useful life for a particular asset. So, the annual depreciation expense will be asset cost minus residual value divided by useful life of the asset. So, with the help of this formula, we can calculate the depreciation expenses. So, we will consider one example here. For example, we are considering a piece of equipment that cost $25,000. So, $25,000 is basically the fixed asset cost with an estimated useful life of 8 years. So, useful life is also given to us, which is 8 years with a $0 salvage value. So, salvage value is $0 here. The depreciation expense per year for this equipment would be, now we are having this table. So, how we will create this table? This is the year. So, this year is showing the useful life of particular asset. So, we know that the useful life of this equipment is 8 years. So, we have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Now, the opening book value. Opening book value means the value of the fixed asset, or cost of the fixed asset at the beginning of the year. Okay. And this is the ending book value. Ending book value is at the end of the year what will be the cost of particular equipment. This is the 8. Okay. 8 is the life, useful life. So, at the beginning of the first year, the value of our equipment, or we can say the opening book value, will be 25,000. Okay. Now, what will be the depreciation? So, how we can calculate the depreciation? So, we have discussed the formula, like the annual depreciation will be fixed asset cost minus salvage value divided by useful life of the asset. Okay. So, with the help of this formula, we can calculate like 25,000 is the fixed value, is the cost of the asset, minus 0 is the salvage value divided by 8. Okay. So, with the help of this formula, we will get this amount. Okay. And we will subtract this value from 25,000, we will get this one. So, this will be the reduced value, or this will be the cost of the equipment at the end of the year. So, this will be the ending book value. Okay. So, in the second year, we will start from this ending book value of the first year. So, we have written 21,875 here, and as we have also discussed that in this particular method, we will have the even rate of depreciation every year. So, this value will be same for every year. Okay. So, we can see here that now at the end of the second year, we have 18,750. Okay. So, this will become the open book value of third year. So, in this manner we will calculate up to the 8th year. Okay. So, we can see here now the ending book value became 0. So, in this way we can find out the depreciation cost of that particular equipment for every year. Now, we come to the unit of production method. So, what unit of production method? This is basically a two-step process. Okay. Unlike the straight line method, here the equal expense rates are assigned to each unit produced. So, here we are talking in terms of the number of units, okay, not in terms of number of years. So, here the equal expense rate will be assigned to each unit produced, and here the calculation will be based on the output capability, okay, of the asset rather than the number of years, and this will make the method very useful in assembly for the production lines. Here the calculation are based on the output capability. Here, we have discussed here, and this one is repeated. Okay. So, the formula for the units of production method. So, how we will calculate the depreciation expense here? So, this will be the number of unit produced divided by the life in number of units into cost minus salvage value. So, using this particular formula, we can find out the depreciation cost of the particular asset. So, we will discuss one example here. We can see here that we are considering a machine and which cost $25,000. So, this will be the cost of that particular machine, okay, with an estimated total production of 100 million. So, this 100 million is the total production, and $0 salvage value. So, salvage value is given as $0. So, during the first quarter of activity, the machine produced 4 million units. So, a particular duration in the first quarter, what is given? It is given that only the 4 million units are produced. So, this table is given to us. In this, we can see here that the useful life of the asset is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the useful life of the assets which is given in years. So, 8 years is the useful life of a particular asset. This is the quantity of production which is given in terms of number of units. So, we can see here that during the first year only 4 million units are produced, during second the 7 million units are given, and so on. The number of the units that are produced are given for each year. So, similarly, we have the open book value also. So, open book value will be the value of the asset at the beginning of year. Ending book value will be the cost of the particular machine at the end of the year, and this is the depreciation. Okay. So, how we will calculate the depreciation here? So, we can say at the beginning of the first year, we will have the opening book value as the cost of the machine, which is 25,000. So, we have written here 25,000. Now, we will calculate the depreciation for this particular year. So, we know that the formula for the depreciation is the number of unit produced divided by total number of units produced, means the number of unit produced here are 4 and the total number of units produced are 100 million into the cost of the machine, which is $25,000 minus salvage value, which is $0. So, it comes out to be $1,000. So, we have written 1,000 here. So, at the end of the year, the ending book value will become 24,000, and this ending book value will become the opening book value for the second year. Okay. Now, we will again calculate the depreciation in the same manner. So, here we will get 7 divided by the total number of units into the cost of the cost of a machine, means which is 25,000 minus salvage value is 0. So, when we will calculate this, we will get 1750. So, in this way we can find out the value depreciation over the useful life of the machine. Now, we come to the next method, that is the double declining method. So, double declining method is basically, we can say it is an accelerated depreciation method. So, as its name suggesting that it counts the expense twice as much as the book value of the asset every year. Okay, and this method also reflects the fact that the assets are typically more productive in their early years than in their later years. Okay, so the formula for calculating the depreciation will become, depreciation is 2 into straight line depreciation, because it is the accelerated depreciation method, and it counts the expense twice as much as the book value of the asset every value. So, here we have written the it is double declining method. So, we have written 2 here, 2 into straight line depreciation percent into book value at the beginning of the accounting period. So, this will become the depreciation. And what is the book value? Book value will be the cost of the asset minus accumulated depreciation. So, this will with the help of this formula we can calculate the depreciation cost. Now, we come to the example of this double declining method. So, we have taken this example. So, on April 1st, 2012, the company X purchased an equipment for rupees 1 lakh. Okay. This is expected to have 5 useful life years. So, the life of the equipment is given as the 5 years, and the cost of equipment is given as rupees 1 lakh. The salvage value is given as rupees 14,000, and the company X considered depreciation expense for the nearest whole month. Calculate the depreciation expenses for 2012, 2013 and 2014 using the double declining balance method. Okay. So, how we will calculate? So, first of all, we will calculate the straight line depreciation percent. So, straight line depreciation percent will be 100 divided by 5. Okay. So, it will become the 20% per year. Okay. So, it will become 20% per year. Then we calculate the depreciation rate. So, depreciation rate will be the 20% into 2. Okay. We have given that it is depreciation is 2 into straight line depreciation percent. Okay. So, in this way we can calculate the depreciation rate, which is 20% into 2, that comes out to be 40% per year. Okay. Now, we will calculate the depreciation for the year 2012. So, we can see here that the cost of the equipment is given as 1 lakh and the salvage value is 14,000, but we are considering the, here in this formula we are not considering the salvage value. At the beginning of this particular year, we will calculate the cost of the asset only. Okay. So, here we can see that this is the 1 lakh into 40%. 40% is the depreciation rate, and this is 9 by 12 because we are calculating it for the complete year. So, we in 2012 we have purchased the particular equipment in April. Okay. So, the remaining months are 9 only out of 12. Okay. So, we will get the rupees 30,000. Okay. Now, we will calculate the depreciation for the year 2013. So, we can see in the formula that the book value is the cost of the asset minus accumulated depreciation. Okay. In 2012, there was no accumulated depreciation. So, we have considered only the cost of the equipment. But in case of 2013, it will become the cost of the equipment minus the accumulated depreciation, which is the rupees 13,000. So, into 40%. 40% is the depreciation rate into 12 by 12. Okay, we are calculating the depreciation for the whole year. Okay, so it comes out to be rupees 28,000. Now we will calculate the depreciation for year 2014. So it will become the cost of the equipment minus the depreciation, accumulated depreciation during the year 2012 minus the accumulated depreciation during the year 2013 into 40% is the depreciation rate into 12 by 12, which comes out to be 16,800 rupees. Okay, so we have shown in this particular table the depreciation expenses during the year 2015 and 16 also. Okay, so in this way we can calculate the depreciation expense of using the double declining method. Now we come to the sum of years digits. Okay, so sum of year digits in this method, because it is one of the accelerated depreciation method, and in this year basically the remaining life of an asset is divided by sum of the years and then it is multiplied by depreciating base to determine the depreciation expense. So as its name suggests, sum of the years. Okay, so in this particular case we will divide the remaining life of the asset with sum of years. Okay, and then we will multiply it with the depreciation base to determine the depreciation expense. So we can see here we will use this particular formula here for finding out the depreciation expense. So we will discuss one example here. Consider a piece of equipment that cost $25,000 and has an estimated useful life of 8 years and $0 salvage value. To calculate the sum of the years digit depreciation, set up a schedule. Okay, so the useful life of the asset is given, which is 8 years. So we have written the useful life here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we have written here the remaining life of the asset, okay, or the equipment. So the remaining life at the beginning of the first year, it will be 8, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Okay, this will be the remaining life. Now the open book value means at the beginning of the value the equipment cost. So equipment cost is $25,000. So we have written 25,000 here. Now we will calculate the depreciation expense. So depreciation expense can be calculated as the life of the asset, remaining life of the asset at the beginning of the first year, the life will be 8. This is the remaining life of the asset divided by the sum of the years, means it will become 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 into the cost of the asset, which will be 25,000 minus the salvage value, which is 0. So when we will solve it, we will get this value. Okay, so at the end of the year, we will get the ending book value, which comes out to be 19,444. This will become the opening book value for the year second year. And this way, similarly, in this way, we will calculate the depreciation expense for the remaining years. And here we can see, here we will get the value 0. Okay. So the same is discussed here, that how we will do the calculation to finding out the depreciation expenses. Now we come to the break-even analysis. So it is also known as the cost column profit analysis, and break-even analysis is basically a useful tool. Okay, it is a useful tool in determining at what state or at what point your company or a new product or a service will be profitable. Means after what stage the company will make the profits. Okay. So, break even analysis, we can say it is a situation where an organization is neither making money or not losing money, but all the cost which it has invested have been covered here. Okay. So, we can calculate the break even point. So, before discussing the break even point, we will see the components of the break even analysis. So, when we say the components of the break even analysis, so we have the fixed cost here. So, what is the fixed cost? Basically, it is known as the overhead cost also. Okay, and these costs occur after the decision to start an economic activity is taken, and these costs are directly related to the level of production. As the quantity of production will increase, the fixed cost will also increase. So, these are directly related to the level of production. And what will be under the what will be covered under the fixed cost, like the interest, taxes or the salaries, rent, depreciation cost, labor cost, energy cost, all these comes under the fixed cost. Okay. Then we have the variable cost. Variable cost is basically the cost that will increase or decrease in relation to production volume. Achha. In case of the fixed cost, they will remain fixed. Okay. They are not directly related to these are related to the production, level of production, not the production volume. Okay. The variable cost will be directly related to production volume. As the production volume will increase, the variable cost will also increase. Okay. But these will be fixed. Okay. These will depend on the level of production only. Okay. So, the cost which will come under the variable cost will be like the raw material cost, packaging cost, shipping cost, fuel and other cost. All these will come under the variable cost. Then we have the break even point. So, what is the break even point? It is the intersection point of total cost line and the total revenue line. Okay. That point of intersection is known as the break even point. Okay. And with the help of this break even analysis, we basically find out the relationship between the fixed cost, variable cost, total cost and the total revenue. Now, we can see here, this is a plot which is between the fixed, which is between the cost and revenue and the sales volume. Okay. Here we can say it is the sales volume, and this is the cost here. Okay. So, we can see here, this is the fixed cost, this one is fixed cost, this line is showing the fixed cost, this one is the variable cost. Okay. So, this is, we are getting the variable cost. Now, what will be the total cost? Total cost will be this one, which will start from here. Okay. This is the total cost line and this is the total revenue. Revenue starting from here. Okay. So, we can see here the total cost line and the total revenue line are intersecting at a point, and this particular point is known as the break even analysis. Okay. And at this point, the company will not have any loss or the profit. Okay. So, this is known as the break even point, and below this point the company will have the losses, and above this point it will gain the profit. Okay. So, we can find out the point where the company will not have any losses or gain. Now, the calculation for break even analysis, there are some formulas which we will use in calculating the break even point. Like, we can calculate the contribution per unit. Contribution per unit is basically the selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Then we can calculate the break even point also, which is the fixed cost divided by contribution per unit, or we can say the fixed cost divided by average price per unit minus variable cost. Then we can calculate the profit also, which will be equal to contribution minus fixed cost. Then how we can calculate the turnover? Turnover will be the F. F is the fixed cost plus PS. PS is the selling price per unit, okay, divided by 1 minus V. V is the variable cost divided by P. Okay. So, in this way we can find out the different terms, okay, which are related to the break even analysis. So, this is all for today's lecture. So, in today's lecture we discussed about the different depreciation method and the different components of the break even analysis. So, thank you very much.